Spencer was a small boy with a big heart, a heart that ached with a longing he couldn't quite articulate. Kindergarten was filled with finger paints and building blocks, but behind his bright, curious eyes lay a sadness that the other children didn't seem to share. Spencer's mother had passed away when he was very young, leaving a void that echoed in the quiet corners of his life. His father, a man of calloused hands and a gruff demeanor, did his best. He worked tirelessly to provide for Spencer, but the gentle touch, the soft words, the comforting embrace of a mother were things he couldn't replicate. He read Spencer bedtime stories with a voice that was more booming than soothing, and his hugs, though filled with love, were often too tight, too quick. Spencer knew his father loved him, but he yearned for the nurturing, the unspoken understanding that only a mother could provide. Then came Ingrid. Ingrid was unlike anyone Spencer had ever met. She was tall, towering over his father, a veritable giantess in Spencer's young eyes. Her hands were large, her voice deep, and Spencer initially recoiled. He was wary of this new presence in their lives, this woman who seemed so different from the gentle memory of his mother. He worried that she would replace the memory of his mother and that he would forget what his mother was like. His initial reservations, however, slowly began to crumble. Ingrid, for all her imposing size, possessed a heart of immense kindness. She baked cookies with Spencer, her large hands surprisingly deft as she helped him roll out the dough. She patiently listened to his ramblings about dinosaurs and superheroes, her eyes twinkling with genuine interest. She sang him lullabies in a voice that, while deep, was surprisingly melodic and soothing. Slowly, Spencer began to see beyond her size, to recognize the warmth and the love that radiated from her. Ingrid was not trying to replace his mother. She was simply offering him a different kind of love, a love that was just as real, just as comforting. One evening, as they sat together on the couch, Spencer found himself overwhelmed by a wave of longing. He looked at Ingrid, her face etched with a gentle kindness, and a question bubbled to the surface, a question he had been holding on to for so long. "Ingrid," he began, his voice small and hesitant, Can I go back inside your tummy?" Ingrid paused, a flicker of surprise crossing her face. She knelt down, bringing herself to Spencer's level, her gaze soft and understanding. "Inside my tummy, sweetie. What do you mean?" Spencer fidgeted with a handful of sand. His cheeks flushed. Like when babies are in there. "Can I go in there too?" He looked up at her, his eyes pleading. "Just for a little bit." A wave of tenderness washed over Ingrid. She understood the innocent curiosity driving his request, the yearning for the ultimate comfort and security he associated with being a baby, safe and protected within the womb. Without a word, Ingrid stood up and took Spencer's hand. She led him to her bedroom, a sanctuary of soft colors and gentle light. She lay down on the bed and patted the space beside her. Spencer climbed up, his eyes wide with a mixture of apprehension and anticipation. "Come here, Spencer," Ingrid said softly, opening her arms. "This is where you came from, darling," she whispered as she rubbed her round, soft, squishy stomach. "This is where you were safe and warm." Then, with a tenderness that belied her size, Ingrid began to massage her stomach. She focused her energy and love to provide her stepson everything that he needed in this moment. Spencer, encouraged by Ingrid's soft voice and gentle touch, tentatively reached out and began to rub his stepmother's tummy, moving in a clockwise motion to help open up a portal. As he rubbed, the very fabric of space and time began to bend and shift, allowing Spencer to begin to crawl inside of his stepmother's womb. "Let's start with your fingers," Ingrid said, as she grabbed Spencer's hand and put it on top of her belly button. Spencer, his small body buzzing with excitement, carefully approached her. He looked at her belly button with a mixture of awe and apprehension. It was just a small, unassuming indentation, but it was about to become the gateway to a wondrous, unknown world. Taking a deep breath, Spencer gently placed his finger on Ingrid's belly button. He closed his eyes tight, concentrating with all his might. The belly button started opening and getting wider, becoming a tunnel, a secret passage leading to a soft, warm place. "You're getting smaller and smaller," Ingrid said softly. "You are shrinking down. I think you're small enough to fit through my belly button now." Spencer squeezed his eyes shut even tighter, as his clothes becoming looser and looser, his body becoming lighter and smaller. He was floating weightless towards the imagined opening. Slowly, cautiously, he leaned forward, pressing his face against Ingrid's stomach, right over her belly button. He kept his eyes closed, focusing on the sensations, the feeling of the warm skin against his cheek, the gentle rise and fall of Ingrid's breathing. Ingrid's navel opened up before him, inviting him in. He crawled forward, inching his way through the soft, yielding passage. The air grew warmer, thicker, imbued with a comforting, familiar scent, a mix of Ingrid's perfume and the subtle, sweet smell of her skin. Ingrid carefully helped him, guiding his small hands as he gently pushed through her soft flesh of her belly button. His eyes widened as he found himself enveloped in a world of warmth and gentle pressure. As he moved deeper inside, he felt a sense of profound peace wash over him. The walls of the tunnel of Ingrid's navel were soft and yielding, like velvet curtains draped around him. He could hear a faint, rhythmic thrumming, a gentle pulse that resonated through his body, a lullaby of life itself. The womb was a vast, cozy room bathed in a soft, rosy light. It wasn't empty. It was filled with a swirling, comforting fluid, like a warm bath that enveloped him completely. He felt weightless, suspended in this liquid embrace, all his worries and anxieties melting away. As he moved further into her stomach and womb, Spencer felt as if he were floating in a warm, gentle sea. The inside of Ingrid's stomach was a kaleidoscope of muted colors, soft pinks and reds swirling together. It was incredibly warm, a comforting heat that seeped into his bones and chased away the lingering chill of grief. The beautiful gurgling sounds of her digestion was like a lullaby that touched deep within him. He curled up in the fetal position, his small body nestled against the soft, yielding walls of her stomach. It wasn't the same as being in his mother's womb. He knew that instinctively, but it was close. It was a place of safety, of warmth, of unconditional love. He felt cradled, protected, cherished. He imagined the soft, pillowy walls of her stomach were the arms of a loving mother embracing him in an eternal hug. He closed his eyes, letting the warmth and the gentle rhythm wash over him, erasing the loneliness and filling the void in his heart. For the first time since his mother's passing, Spencer felt a sense of peace, a feeling of being truly and completely loved. It was a space of pure, unadulterated love, a place where he felt safe, protected, and utterly cherished. He could hear the muffled sounds of the outside world, distant and muted, like echoes from another life. Time seemed to lose all meaning as Spencer drifted in this blissful state. He felt as if he were floating in an endless ocean of love, surrounded by warmth and light. He was finally able to experience the feeling of being completely nurtured, completely protected, completely loved. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the room, Spencer felt a gentle tug, a signal that it was time to return. With a sigh of contentment, he slowly began to withdraw from the warm embrace of Ingrid's womb. Just as Spencer had fully re-emerged from Ingrid's belly button, the front door opened, and his father walked in. He stopped short, his eyes widening in surprise as he took in the scene before him. He saw Ingrid lying on the bed, her face radiant with love, and Spencer nestled beside her, his eyes shining with a newfound peace. A slow smile spread across his father's face. He understood in that moment the depth of Ingrid's love, the profound connection she had forged with his son. He walked over to the bed and sat down beside them, gently pulling Spencer into his arms. Together they shared stories, their voices mingling in the soft light of the setting sun. Spencer, nestled between his father and his stepmother, felt an overwhelming sense of love and security. He was surrounded by the people who loved him, who cherished him, who made him feel whole. As the evening wore on, Spencer's eyelids began to droop. He snuggled closer to Ingrid, burying his face against her chest. Ingrid wrapped her arms around him, her large hands stroking his hair. And as Spencer drifted off to sleep, he knew, with a certainty that warmed him from the inside out, that he had the family he always wanted. And he had found, in the most unexpected of places, the mother's love he had longed for.